Hello there, very good evening. This is Primetime News on TV1. We are coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Tharushi Kumar Singer, and here are your headlines for tonight.
Price of a kilogram of wheat flour increased by 7 rupees. Signs of prices of bread and other baked goods increasing. Central Postal Exchange launched a 48-hour strike action. The owning company provides explanation regarding the controversial US cargo flight. China to set up oil company in Sri Lanka.
Today marks the Asala Full Moon Poya Day. Asala Poya commemorates several important events in the history of Buddhism. The Buddha's first sermon and the arrival of the tooth relic in Sri Lanka.
Buddha's preaching of his first sermon, the Dhamma Sutra, to the 5 ascetics took place at the Deer Park in Varanasi on an Asala Poya Day, thereby inaugurating his public ministry. The other noteworthy events connected with this day include the conception of the Bodhisattva in the womb of Queen Maya, his great renunciation, the performance of the twin miracle, and his preaching the Abhidhamma for the first time in the Tavatimsa heaven. An additional factor that enhances the value of this poya to Sri Lanka is the first local ordination of a Sri Lankan when Prince Aritha, the nephew of the king, entered the order at Anuradhapura under Arahat Mahinda following the introduction of Buddhism. On this day, there also took place the laying of the foundation stone for the celebrated Dagaba, the Mahastupa or the Ruanvali Saya, and also the enshrinement of relics by King Dutukamanu. Asala Poya assumes prominence for yet another ritual of the Sri Lankan Buddhists. This is the annual rains retreat of the monks, Was, which commences on the day following the Asala full moon. The Sambuddha Puja at the Shakya Malakya, located opposite the head office of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, was held this afternoon. The puja was organised by Hakros Chemicals Private Limited of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited. The Dhamma sermon was delivered by Venerable Kahagalle Shantathera.
On to one of your headline-making news items now. Prima and Serendip companies have announced it had increased the price of a kilogram of wheat flour by 7 rupees with effect from today.
Companies said all sales representatives island-wide have been informed in this regard. The Prima company said the price of a kilogram of wheat flour will increase by 8.5 rupees with taxes in the market, although the company has decided to increase the price by 7 rupees. The company said the prices were to be increased 7 months ago due to the depreciation of the rupee against the US dollar.
The second attack following the Easter Sunday attack struck today by increasing the price of flour by 7 rupees. Wheat flour is the main food of 80% of Sri Lankans. There is no government and there are no rules and regulations by the ministry. The company increased the price by 7 rupees. More than 300 million of wheat flour are being consumed. Prices of all food items will increase from tomorrow. The sales will also decrease. That will result in the downfall of businesses. This affects the daily activities of the people of this country. There is no use in having a government, so we will take the legal action against this company. We request all political parties to stand against the decision made by this organization and to bring these companies before the working committee. Can they just increase the price as they please? Do they govern this country? Wheat flour is an essential item. Can these companies increase the prices of these essential items? The rulers back then instructed to take over the Prima company in 20 years since 1977. But it has been 42 years and the Prima company has not been taken over by the government. They now act in a way they want. But it doesn't look like the law is being enacted against this company. So we ask if it is Ranil Wickremesinghe who is governing the country or if it is Prima company. Or is it the Prima company who is being sponsored by Ranil Wickremesinghe governing this country?
Meanwhile, the All Ceylon Bakery Owners Association said action will be taken on the prices of their products with the increase of the price of wheat flour. He added that the price may increase by 3 to 4 rupees.
More headline making news now. Postal Service employees commenced a 48-hour strike action which came into effect from 4 p.m. today.
Convener of the Joint Postal Trade Union Alliance, Chintaka Bandara, urged that this strike is carried out due to disparities in recruitment, promotions and salary structure.
In September last year, a memorandum was submitted to the cabinet. However, it did not receive any approval. We will launch a 48-hour strike action in the Colombo postal area with effect from 4 p.m. today. If the relevant authorities fail to address this issue, we will continue the strike action island-wide.
Meanwhile, the subject minister Abdul Rahim convened a media briefing in this regard.
We appointed a committee in this regard, and the recommendations of this committee has already been submitted to the finance minister. This is where the delay has taken place. The cabinet will discuss this matter on Friday. Until then, I request all postal employees to report to work.
Yet another US cargo aircraft that landed at the Bandaranaike International Airport departed early this morning. This aircraft also belongs to the Western Global Airlines.
A McDonnell Douglas 11 aircraft belonging to Western Global Airline, a cargo carrier, reached the Bandaranaike International Airport during the early hours last Friday and had departed to the United Arab Emirates on Saturday. Subsequently, another McDonnell Douglas 11 aircraft belonging to the Western Global Airline had landed at the Bandaranaike International Airport on Sunday at 2:50 a.m. and had left to the Fujairah International Airport in the UAE at 12:40 a.m. today. This aircraft had arrived in the island from the U.S. Anderson Air Force Base located in the Guam Islands. The Guam Islands is a strategic U.S. naval base located in the Pacific Ocean, which consists of one Air Force base and two naval bases. The Ministry of Defense previously said that the first U.S. cargo aircraft had arrived in the island after obtaining prior approval to obtain products and services during transit. However, officials of the Civil Aviation Authority said that the aircraft had arrived to transport a stock of merchandise. However, Newsfirst continuously questioned whether these were transactions by the US military taking place under the AXA agreement. Responding to an inquiry made by Newsfirst, President and CEO of Western Global Airlines, James K. Neff, said that his company is an FAA 121 certified commercial airline and in October of 2016 became certified to operate for the US government Civil Reserve Air Fleet program. Accordingly, Western Global Airlines, representing the USA, engaged in transporting commercial merchandises across the globe. We thank Western Global Airlines for their prompt response, which also confirms their relationship with the US government. However, the question still remains. Are the US cargo aircraft visiting Sri Lanka under the guise of civil aviation stakeholders of the AXA agreement that facilitates the exchange of military goods and services?
Foreign interferences in Sri Lanka is being widely discussed in India as well. Sri Lanka was the main subject of discussion on Rajya Sabha TV in its episode of India's World Focus on US-Sri Lanka Military Pact and its implications.
Way back in 79-82 when I was there, United States was trying to have arrangements at Trincomalee on the East Coast, a wonderful port. Well, Trincomalee did not materialize, though I should recall that I had a meeting with the US ambassador in Colombo. I asked him about Trincomalee, what his plans were, and he said, no, we have no plans at all. We have no interest at all. But I had with me a piece of paper which listed Trincomalee as one of the ports where, American Navy could go. As a matter of fact, Sri Lanka can be called an aircraft carrier, very strategically placed.
US has spent a lot of money in the small island. Recently, after the LTT was sort of defeated and wiped out, US Navy has actually helped the Sri Lankans to raise a Marine Corps, completely trained by the US Navy. They have also given them about $39 million last year to strengthen their maritime domain awareness. So, maritime domain awareness required for the Americans to know all the time as to what is happening in this region.
Sri Lanka has had a landmass of 65,610 square kilometers. Sri Lanka is also entitled to 12 nautical miles of territorial sea as defined by the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. In addition to this, Sri Lanka's exclusive economic ocean territory, which is the area of coastal water and seabed within a certain distance of the country's coastline, extends 200 nautical miles, that's over 500,000 square kilometers. Sri Lanka has the exclusive rights for fishing, drilling and other economic activities in this zone, which is more than 8 times the landmass of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has asked the United Nations Seabed Committee for an extension of our continental shelf up to 1 kilometer sediment depth. The report has been submitted with help from Norway in measuring this extension, which adds up to an additional 350 nautical miles, stretching all the way up to Antarctica. Throughout the world, exclusive economic ocean territory is often named after the landmass or the sovereign nation that is adjacent to the specific ocean territory. Sea of Japan, South China Sea, Siberian Sea and the Philippine Sea can be cited as examples. There is no reason for this exclusive economic zone and the potential extended continental shelf that will also come within Sri Lanka's purview be termed the Sea of Sri Lanka. Although there have been some attempts to establish Sri Lanka's ocean territory, domestic politics has not allowed these efforts to come into fruition.
Foreign media reported that China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation, known as Sinopec, will set up a fuel company in Sri Lanka as it looks to supply fuel to ships along a major maritime route.
The new unit, called Fuel Oil Sri Lanka Company Limited, has been registered in Hambantota. Fuel oil is a refined product mostly used as bunker fuel for ships and is also burned in power station. Chinese media reported that Sinopec stressed the strategic location of Hambantota port on the Indian Ocean along a key shipping route between the Suez Canal and the Malacca Strait, which is transited by two-thirds of the global oil shipment. Sinopec has set a company-wide target of 10 million tons of production capacity by 2020 to supply low-sulfur bunker fuel that meet the cleaner emission standards set by the International Maritime Organization. The move marks the latest investment in Sri Lanka by China, which sees the South Asian island nation as a pivotal part in its Belt and Road Initiative infrastructure plan. China Merchants Port Holding, China Harbour Engineering Corporation and other Chinese companies are investors in the port and industrial zone. It is against this backdrop an economic corridor from Trincomalee to Colombo is being planned to be constructed by the United States. Meanwhile, construction on the Hambantota Mirijivella oil refinery and the cement factory, dubbed as the largest investment in Sri Lanka, began on the 24th of March. It was reported that the new oil refinery that spans across 200 acres is scheduled to be constructed within 44 months. According to the Sri Lankan government, Singapore-registered Silver Park International is one of the main investors for the oil refinery project.
Now, Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Cheng Zuyuan, said countries such as China and Sri Lanka, sharing a common history of being bullied and colonized by Western powers, should always remain vigilant as regarding to external interference.
Publishing an article entitled, quote, Hong Kong, a part of China, shall allow no external interference, end quote, the Chinese ambassador said, quote, such interferences can never bring benefits, but only trouble, chaos and disaster, end quote. He further added, quote, China, adhering to independent and peaceful diplomatic policies, will never interfere with others' internal affairs and is strongly against such behavior, end quote. He concluded saying, quote, we should always insist on independence, fighting against external interference and making their own decisions. Only in this way can we march towards the right direction and embrace a brighter future, end quote.
The Criminal Investigations Division had obtained a 9-hour statement from former Defense Secretary Hemasiri Fernando regarding the April 21st attacks. Police media unit said that Hemasiri Fernando, who arrived at the CID around 10 last morning, had left around 7 p.m. after providing a statement. In more local news, continuing the coverage on the import of garbage to Sri Lanka, further details are followed by News First tonight.
The exporter, a company from the United Kingdom, is declared in the invoice. Vanguard Limited in London was incorporated on the 19th of May 2017. News First is conducting investigations with regard to this. The consignment arrived on a vessel which departed on the 18th of January 2018. One of the vessels, Thalassa Pistis, arrived in Sri Lanka later in January 2018. For well over 16 months, it appears that this consignment was stuck in Sri Lanka. The customs have revealed that this consignment can be described as garbage. There is some considerable concern that it has taken this length of time for this import to be discovered and highlighted. In investigating the reported address of the importer, according to the invoice, it was evident that such a place does not exist. Newsfirst cameras recorded the footage of the declared address of the importer as mentioned in the invoice. Newsfirst investigations discovered a significant silence apparently ordered by those with potential involvement. It is surprising that none of the ministries involved have made any comments as yet. Their silence raised questions as to whether there is a cover-up in the making. According to both the Central Environmental Authority and the Customs, importing garbage into Sri Lanka is illegal. If this is Sri Lanka's policy regarding garbage, how could such a violation have taken place without the authorities being aware? Should not this consignment then be immediately confiscated and the wrongdoers be revealed? Should Sri Lanka be allowed to become a dumping ground for garbage just so politicians can further deepen their pockets? Should not each of the government agencies embroiled in this controversy conduct impartial investigations to bring out the truth? News First will keep monitoring this developing story.
Handing over the national flag of Sri Lanka officially to the delegation from Sri Lanka to the World Scouts Jamboree, which is to be held in United States of America, took place under the auspices of the President today at the President's residence.
24th World Jamboree is taking place at the Virginia State in America. President, while congratulating the Sri Lankan delegation, pointed out the importance of taking the identity of Sri Lanka to the world. President's media division stated that President Maithripala Sirisena will inform the American ambassador to approve visa for the scouts who have not received the approval.
Construction activities of two buildings commenced under the Sadham Daham Sevana program in Suryawaba today. The event was held under the auspices of Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa.
Foundation stones were laid for the new buildings at the Konketiyara Viharaya in Suryawaba today. Expected cost of the buildings is 4 million rupees.
Dhamma School is an important institution to create a disciplined society in the country. It should be our main objective to strengthen the Dhamma schools in the area. With the certifications given by the Dhamma schools, many joined the public sector employment. It was because extra marks were given for the Dhamma certificate. But the moment these people came into power, what they did was to make the Dhamma school certificate invalid.
Meanwhile, foundation stone was laid for a building at the Sri Sumangala Dhamma school in Middenniya Purana Mahaviharaya.
The Tamil National Alliance says that an adjournment motion will be held in Parliament regarding the draft of the new constitution. MP Dharmalingam Siddharthan of the TNA told News First that the debate will take place on the 24th and the 25th.
The TNA says that this debate will take place to restart the constitution drafting process, which was halted since January. Yesterday, the Prime Minister, speaking in Jaffna, spoke about the obstacles of reaching a political solution for the issues in the north.
We came in the hope of finding a political solution. We discussed one, but unfortunately we didn't have majority in Parliament. No one had the majority in Parliament. So it dragged. But I like to say that I and my party stands committed to devolution. And we will discuss it and implement a devolution which gives the type of powers you want, which is acceptable to the Sinhalese, to the Muslims and others, a devolution based on it.
This is a story that Ranil is saying to deceive the people. The people should pay attention to this. He had the majority to win the no confidence motion. That is not all. They brought in the 19th Amendment to the Constitution and passed it with a majority. He increased his power. Now it has come to a situation that the President is unable to work. He says that the majority he has in Parliament to do what he wants is not there to solve the issues of the public.
There is a common saying, if the porridge is old, you cannot eat it. Any government that comes into power should look for solutions for major issues within the first 6 to 1 year of coming into power. Instead, if they say they will provide a solution within 2 years, that is a lie. The TNA continues to support and the government enjoys a majority even now. The TNA is of the stance that the government should not be toppled. The JVP, the TNA and the UNP are working together. The no confidence that was brought in recently was a farce.
The Vaal procession carrying the Velayuda organised by the Capital Maharaj Organisation Limited with the view of promoting national reconciliation reached the Ruhunu Maha Katharagama temple today.
The Vaal procession commenced from the Selva Sandi Kovil in Point Pedro following religious observances. The Vaal is considered as a symbolic weapon of the god of Katharagama. The Vaal procession carrying the Velayuda organised by the Capital Maharaj Organisation Limited with the view of promoting national reconciliation reached Tangol, Hammantota via Sella Katharagama yesterday. The Vaal procession commenced its journey from the Sella Katharagama Ganadevi Kovil to the Ruhunu Maha Katharagama temple this morning. The procession carrying the Velayuda will commence its journey tomorrow morning to reach the Katharagama sacred grounds. The Velayuda that was carried in procession across the island was placed at the Ruhunu Maha Katharagama temple this afternoon.
Former news anchor at News First, Loslia Marianesen has been making waves in the popular reality TV show, The Big Boss.
Loslia Marianesen, a former news anchor at News First, was the second contestant to enter the third season of Big Boss Tamil. Big Boss Tamil is a reality show hosted by popular Telugu actor Kamal Hassan. Several journalists from South India visited News First headquarters recently.
Loss is someone who doesn't have that.
Loslia is a very humble person. She is dedicated and hardworking. We are proud that someone like her got an opportunity like this.
Is there any difference between Loslia you watched on Big Boss and the Loslia you worked with?
There is no difference. She is the same.
Loslia has the ability to solve any issue. Several contestants of the Big Boss show quarrel. However, Loslia knows how to act wisely. She sings and smiles away. She is a very composed person. Her character in the newsroom has not changed and it is still the same in Big Boss.
Loslia's dreams are different. She is always forward-thinking. She would constantly stress that we must achieve our objectives and go forward in life. Today, her dreams have come true.
The Sri Lanka netball team lost their second Netball World Cup Group E encounter to Samoa 55-65 at the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool. Meanwhile, on a more positive note, Sri Lanka's Tharanjini Sivalingam earned the record for the most goals scored by a single player in one game.
Tharanjini Sivalingam scored an incredible 76 goals as Sri Lanka earned their first win of Netball World Cup Liverpool by beating Singapore 82-50 in the opening game in Group E yesterday. The total goals scored by Tharanjini now totals 283. Tharanjini Sivalingam's 76 goals took her to the top of the pile in terms of most goals scored by a single player in one game at this World Cup. This record was previously held by Zimbabwe netball player Joyce Takaitsai, who scored 125 goals. I scored 76 goals of the 78. This is a tournament record. I thank everyone, including my teammates and team managers, for supporting me to achieve this.
Coach, manager, team manager, thanks.
And with that note, we bring this edition of Primetime News to a close. For a comprehensive report on all these stories and many more, log on to our award-winning website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. Bringing you the news, I'm Tharusha Kumar Singha. Good night and take care.